This is The Gauge with host Chance Conradu.
Are you freaking serious? It's Conrado. This is The Gauge, and I am Chance Conrado. On this episode of the podcast, we have got the awesome, down-to-earth, coolest chick in the world, Hailey Kinsel, in the house. We talk about all kinds of things, mostly her teeth and the convenience store Buc-ee's. Don't ask me why we talked about it so long. Send her a DM. She won't answer it. Check it out.
That good there? Yeah.
Whatever you're comfortable.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm comfy.
Yeah, I like move around a ton, so
I'm probably
you can
gonna
too.
move around some.
Hey. You want to keep your job, son?
I'm the one that has a mess with your camera angle 5 times a show.
You're making me very self-conscious. Yeah,
self-confident, he almost said.
Not self-confident.
You build him up.
You do not build me up. The problem is Emily got here at like 11. She's like, let's take a shot. I was like, fuck it.
Dude.
Okay. She parties.
She is something. I was just amazed. Like, this girl goes all day long, mixed everything under the sun, and the next morning gets up the same time we do feeds. But when she comes in, she's like, I was a little sick. And I'm like, how are you not dead? You know, how are you not dead? I don't get it.
Well, she's sitting here and she's talking about like how well her mom holds her liquor. I'm like, dude, I've partied with you and you hold your liquor just like that.
You, exactly. Like, I don't think she knows.
I don't think she realizes it. She's like, oh, my mom can hold her and Ivy can hold her liquor. I was like, I'm sitting here watching you and
it's like when
you're missing something.
Yes. It's like when pretty girls talk about how pretty other girls are and they're like, oh, I want to look like that. And I'm like, that's Emily with drinking with other people.
Except for when pretty girls do that, they're actually just looking for those compliments.
Probably.
Emily is actually oblivious.
She's
actually oblivious.
She is actually living in this world. But yeah.
Good point.
It's
She's
amazing.
so funny though.
Dude, she's hilarious. She is like the goodest hearted.
Goodest hearted? Were you drinking with her when I didn't see you?
No, I'd be saying way worse. I'm not kidding. I'm little and I don't like, you know, the ring dunk thing at A&M, because I went to A&M and you're supposed to dunk your ring, and I didn't even bother because I don't enter something I can't win. And I knew for a fact that me drinking a pint of beer wasn't happening.
Wasn't going to happen?
Wasn't going to happen fast.
Because you're like 103 pounds soaking wet?
It wasn't gonna happen. We'll put that. So I just didn't, and people were like, "You can dunk it in anything." I'm like, "No, because it's
I'm
not."
gonna skip that.
No, I
But
just
you-
skipped it.
You did take a shot of that peanut butter whiskey. You seem to be all right.
I am so far. I mean, we'll see.
We'll see.
There's only 2 of you so far.
Only 2. Yeah, one for each of my personalities. That comes with the last name.
Conradu.
Conrad.
I have heard of you people.
You have heard of you people, and we also heard to run the other way.
Exactly.
But you did go to the dentist, so maybe it's just that.
I did go to the dentist. Yeah, I was. It's not exactly on my way. I went that way across Dallas area and then came back. But it was kind of, it's like once you get up in this area, you just hit it all.
Yep.
The DFW realm. So I went over there. I'm getting my teeth fixed, my front 2 teeth, because but the bottoms of my front 2 teeth are fake on both of them, and they chip off and fall off like all the time. And it started in college because I was tying goats, you know, ripping that sucker out. And I came in one day from tying, and I was like missing a piece of my front tooth. And I was super bummed because I love to smile and always was really smiley, like just as a kid, which it's one of the 2. I'm either full-on smile or total RBF, like one of the 2. So this little half smile thing, like not confident smile, that's not me.
You know what RBF is, right? Resting bitch face.
Yeah.
I didn't think you knew.
I know what resting bitch face is. I just didn't know that abbreviation.
You gotta know the abbreviation. That's the way I feel, is abbreviated when I have that face. And I don't mean it at all. I'm like, but it's like, I feel like if I smile at you, I'm gonna beam and knock you over. And so then I feel uncomfortable that way. So, which makes me feel really bad because I look at people and I want to smile at them, but I'm like, I don't want to like freak them out with my smile. So I'll just stare for a second, and then you have this awkward stare and you wait for them to smile. Then they don't. So they just look down and you're like, shoot, missed my window, you know? And so then you don't make people feel good. And that hurts my feelings to not make people feel good. So moral of the story is, I used to love my smile. Not like weirdly love it, but I like to smile. And then I chipped my teeth, and so now I'm like, no, I don't. Now I don't have a good smile anymore. Like my college rodeo coach called me Smiley. That was my name. And so now that I have these teeth that are kind of chipped, I've been patching them for a while, And the issue with patching the very bottoms and not just doing a crown or something like that is they come off. And they come off at the worst times. Like, for example, in Calgary this year, I show up and won the first round of my pool. Awesome day. Tied the arena record. I was thrilled. And then there's that steakhouse in Calgary, the Keg.
Yep.
The best one. And when you get there, you get your packet and you get a free coupon to the Keg with whatever their basic steak is. Like, it's a free steak. And so
It's like a ribeye or something like that.
And it's really good. Like, they have great steak. So nothing on the Keg here. It was just on my teeth. But anyways, we go that night, the first night after round, kind of celebrate, like really excited. Let's have a steak dinner. And I was eating my steak and then I go in the bathroom and I have this like hole in the bottom of one of my front teeth. Like hole. It wasn't like the cap came off where it was supposed to come off either. It was just like a piece right in the middle. I was like, no, because I'm thinking I've got the rest of Calgary. I have the Utah run after this in Cheyenne and I can't go get it fixed for a long time. So I'm gonna look like this. So I'm like, I could probably blow air through it, honestly. And I bet nobody else really noticed it, but I did.
It was on your bottom teeth?
No, it's the top front two. Like, you know, the song with your two front teeth? It's those two. So it was like right in the bottom there. And just like a little sliver, like somebody stuck the letter V up that way and was like, anyways, not cool. So then the next day was an even better day in the arena. There two before me, Jennifer Sharp broke the arena record again after I did and ran a 16:96, and then I came in two after her and rebroke it, ran a 93. So I am all smiles, you know, like total emotion, thrilled, come out, and you do your interview right at the back of the alley, and my mom took my horse, and I stay there, and there's this picture, and of course that gets posted before the run, before anything else, arena record, whatever. My shirt looks great because all my sponsors are showing. I look happy, and I get on Facebook, and it's been shared a lot. And all I can see is my tooth. Like, that's all. And I'm like, no, like my smile was great yesterday and now it's not. So I'm just, now everybody's going to look up that picture. But that's all I could think about was like, this wasn't a good day for a picture of me to get shared that much. That was like zoomed in on my face.
Definitely not.
Very good quality
Jacked up
photo.
teeth.
Yes. And I was just bummed. So anyways, that's very like probably vain of me to say, but I just felt really bad. So since then, I kind of was like, okay, we're going to get rid of this chip thing. And so I got a consultation for getting like the full crown.
Just going to do full crowns?
I don't know. I'm still kind of up in the air, but I did do the whole mold the mouth thing where you try not to gag on that stuff that's in there. And it's like, it's a lot. And then I've been brushing off little pieces of stuff all over my face the rest of the day because it's just gross. It's like blue. And yeah, it was nasty. So anyways, if you see anything blue, that's what, it's not a slushy. It's not anything like that. It's
not a slushie?
It's not a
See,
slushie.
I would have thought it was because we just had a 2-hour conversation with Emily Miller about Buc-ee's.
Exactly.
So,
Ices. Yeah, I would have thought that too. But anyways, so that was weird. But I went ahead and did that. So I'm probably going to get that done so that my teeth look a little better. My smile looks a little better so I can smile again because I like to smile.
You love to smile. You just explained it very well. You know what I really like about Hailey is you're really good at explaining your feelings.
I'm so glad you think so. I probably took a very long route to explain all of that, but that hence the point of this podcast, I guess. I will probably do that a lot.
No, it's perfect.
But you'll get the full meal deal.
Yeah. What is it at Buc-ee's? The beaver
nuggets.
Beaver? I don't know. What do you people call it?
I don't know. What are you talking about? Beaver nuggets again?
Yeah, they probably have a meal deal, right?
Oh,
you should know.
No,
You're a connoisseur.
He needs to go.
We're going to take them. Don't worry.
He needs to go. This is bad.
It is.
You don't even know.
But it's
not like a Happy Meal. Like, he's acting like this is McDonald's up in here. It's Buc-ee's.
This is not McDonald's.
It's a beaver meal. It's the beaver meal.
It's not because you couldn't. There is no way somebody could eat all of the best foods in there in one meal.
Oh no, not at all.
Because I can't even name all the best foods, and I can name a lot of foods.
What was the one you were telling me about? What are they called?
Beaver nuggets.
Beaver nuggets.
Yep.
Who is in charge of coming up with those names? Because that is such a weird word.
Well,
beaver nuggets.
You know, if you eat them, you don't think about the word. So
you don't? Because that's all I would think about.
No, you don't. You just think about how good it is and how good your life is and how your face is about to break out because it's a lot of sugar. But it's fine.
How great your life is and how nice it would be to eat these beaver nuggets with full teeth. And
right. Exactly. That's basically where I go every time. Yeah.
It's like I love to smile and I love these beaver nuggets, but if I only had my two front teeth.
It's a song. Sounds like a song in the making.
It does.
First ever 12 gauge released song.
At 12 gauge would probably produce it. Yeah.
I will be involved.
But
sign me up.
Buc-ee's is the world's largest convenience store, though.
It is.
Yes.
Really?
And he's never been.
Holds the record for it.
I haven't been. And I have a good feeling that there's like 4 people who are never going to let me not.
Oh, we're going to take you. It's going to be.
Going.
We're going to make this a whole social media thing.
Mm-hmm. It's a tour. Like we're gonna walk in. You're gonna go. Just stop, look up at the ceiling, and just be like, "Oh my gosh, I have made it!" You know. And you thought your life was full up until now, and you didn't. So, anyways, you'll figure it out pretty soon.
Okay.
It's really good.
All right. I'm gonna mark that on my calendar. You guys just let me know what day we're doing that. I'm
What are
making a
your
whole production.
Top 5 favorite snacks?
My top 5 favorite
Yes.
snacks? Oh my God, that's a good question. All right, I really like these things called RX bars.
Explain what they are.
They are like the most boring protein bar in the world.
Buc-ee's has boring protein bars. 1.
Boom.
Second one.
Okay, so this show's supposed to be about you, not my snack. You've completely hijacked my show.
You bet. I'm in charge. Keep going.
You are in charge. What's that? I keep hearing like a. Is that just your teeth?
Probably. It's the vents. Okay.
It's the vents. Let's see. So RX bars, protein bars. I'm a big fan of Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets.
Oh my gosh, they have grilled nuggets. Absolutely at the counter. You got to order them.
Yeah, I would die for those. So it's not really a snack, but those Celsius drinks that I was so kind to share with you.
Yes, Celsius.
Those are there. Beef jerky.
They have the best beef jerky.
Oh, yes.
It's so
Really?
good. Yes.
Can't live without that. And then if I were to pick another one, because it makes me feel healthy, like some type of like organic dark chocolate. Really just like I would eat a Reese's bar, but then I like feel bad because I pronounce,
Yeah, no, that makes sense. They have tons of like chocolate in bags, like whatever brand you could find on the shelf. But I bet they have their own version too, because oftentimes, like Bucky has like this section over here where it's Bucky's food, and then they have like the whatever all the other brand names basically all kind of grouped together, so you can just branch out.
Okay, well, what are your top 5? But only from Bucky's.
Only from
and
Buc-ee's?
only Bucky's brand. Since you're such a connoisseur, Hailey.
Okay, so I guess I'll just go like food in general, not so much like snacks, but well, I could go snacks. Okay, so I love the fruit cups. Like you can get like fresh fruit in a cup. I'm a big fan of fruit, so all sorts of kinds, and they're all chopped up, and they have a little stick that comes with them, so it's easy to eat while you're driving. Try not to stab your tongue, because I have done that too. They have also in that same little deli section, like cut up sausages and hams and meats and cheeses, and I love cheese, like any kind of cheese. And so
Wait,
they
like
have
fancy cheese, or like
It's
all
just-
the way down to spray cheese up to like Gouda? Is Gouda a
yeah.
fancy cheese?
I don't know. I like any cheese though. For sure like fancy cheese, for sure like spray cheese. So I guess the whole spectrum. As far as what's in this cup, it's pretty middle, but it's good cheese. They're little squares. So I really like those. I love their jalapeno cheese bread. They just come in a loaf and
So
you
we're
can
down. We
tear it
got
off.
3.
That's 3. Fudge. That's not a healthy snack.
You monologued about their fudge for a good while on the couch there.
Fudge is really good. It's worth monologuing. I could be a fudge monologuer in another realm of work.
There's probably a fudge blogger. You should try that if barrel racing doesn't work out in the long term.
We should. At this point, with no rodeos, that might be my next opportunity. Thank you for that. And fudge is really soft on your teeth, if you were wondering, so I don't chip them while I'm
That
eating
was
them.
my next question.
Yeah. And then I'm going to end it with the beaver nuggets, both the caramelized ones and the little, I don't know what they're called, but they're orange. They're kind of like a hot flavor, I guess.
Hot beaver nugget.
It's not hot, but like,
Please, nobody chop that sentence up.
yeah, don't. No, that's a bad idea. No, that's kind of it. That'd probably be my top 5 Buc-ee's brand food.
Man, if you probably don't have a lot of room left on your shirt for sponsors, but I would say cut somebody for Buc-ee's.
You would think, especially since their diesel's so cheap.
Yeah.
Because that's why you go. Like, you go to get the cheap fuel, and then you're like, I'm just going to run inside for a quick snack. $30 later, you've got a bunch of stuff that you can't even eat by the time you get home.
It's a good point.
Yeah. It's a very good point.
I guess
Marketing.
I do have to go. You've totally convinced me, but when, I don't know.
Yeah, see, that's my third job opportunity is salesman of any kind. Anything.
Anything?
Anything.
Okay, so we are so off topic here.
What was the topic?
I don't think we had one, but
Buc-ee's is a good topic.
It is a good topic.
enough producer feedback time. You get us off the book. If you're going to be a salesman, I mean, what would you want to sell? Sell?
Anything. I took a sales
not
class in
drink.
college that I didn't, like, you had to come up with your own product, and I just made a sport boot, like any kind of sport boot. And actually, oddly enough, the sport boot that I designed, like, off the top of my head, just kind of, I was trying to do it different than others and compete with them basically. The one that I picked is like very much like Classic Equine, which is now endorsed by, so that's good because I really did believe in it when I was like a sophomore in college. Like, this is the best kind of support. So that's, I don't know, I'd love to go obviously in the equine route. I think that'd be really cool, but, and not that that's something I aspire to be as a salesman, but I feel like I could.
You explain things so well, and I decided to not go the rodeo route and go like a sales type route. And like, yeah, I mean, I would recruit you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My dad sells real estate, and my mom's dad was a car salesman. So I feel like I get it from both sides and a little bit of both. A little bit of like straight up integrity, like this is a good piece of land, and then kind of like, check out this car. So I could mix it. You know what I mean?
You literally did both those things with Buc-ee. You got it. Like,
Thank you.
I seriously don't think you should barrel race anymore. Sell the horses and go to your nearest Chevy dealership. You'll make way more money selling used cars.
You don't know what I'm capable of.
Well, just make sure that you get your teeth fixed first, because
Thank
that's
you.
the first sign of a
The
slippery
winning
salesman
smile.
is, yeah, you got to have all your teeth.
Definitely. No, I'm going to work on that for sure. I mean, I'm going to look way better. My hair is going to be slicked back.
It's a good idea.
The whole meal deal.
Whole pocket protector with your best pins. What's the
something like that.
What's the movie with Alec Baldwin? It's the sales movie. It's like coffees for closers.
Yep.
What's that movie called? But anyway, don't look it up.
Don't look it up.
Don't worry about it. Anyway, coffees for closers. Well, teeth are for closers in this instance.
Teeth are for smiling and making the deal. I could sell teeth.
Yeah, your dentist, not the one who. What you were telling me? They messed up your wisdom teeth?
Yeah, that was a different dentist. And I can't give them. It wasn't their fault that I was built this way, but like I had one wisdom tooth that was growing in 3 directions and had 5 nerves attached to it, and so they couldn't remove it, just like whip it out.
How does one tooth grow 3 directions?
I don't really know. I didn't ask it, but I just asked them to get that sucker out of there because it was just not a good thing. It started to have some pain, so I'm like laying there and was awake, and they wanted me to feel a little bit so that they knew like when they were around the nerves, which is a little weird, but like I understood. They were good dentists, but this tooth was like a monster, and they just kept saying the whole time, they're like, wow, this is worse than we thought. And I'm like, that's what you want to hear. So anyways, 3.5 hours later I came out and I'm like in some pain, and thankfully I had this photo shoot like a week later for a sponsor, and I had gotten that appointment moved up. I was just going to do the appointment the day before I flew out for that photo shoot, and I never knew what cancellations and moving up an appointment could do for a person, but it did a lot because I looked like a chipmunk and a half, or like I had a dip in for like a massive dip in right after that. So thankfully I got to recover from that.
Yeah, there's nothing worse. I had my wisdom teeth removed as an adult, and it is the worst thing ever.
So bad. And I only had 2 out that day, but it was that one monster tooth and another one. So bad, though, I went to the vet the next day to take a horse, and they looked at me and were like, do you want an ice pack? I'm like, is it that bad? And they're like, you look worse than the horse does. Okay, thank you so much. Like, it's bad when your vet's concerned with your health.
When he's like, I will switch medical practices and let me do something for your face real quick.
Seriously, I can't focus on my job because your face. All right.
Hey, could you just leave so I can work on your horse because you're distracting me?
Yeah, I feel like that mutant child. So anyhow, yeah, appearances. It's really stupid too. Appearances are dumb. I mean, it's great. You're beautiful. Everybody's beautiful. You should feel beautiful. But people put way too much emphasis on appearances.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and somebody who's like doing what you're doing, the amount of pressure to throw the face on and do all that, it's got to be the most just annoying thing ever.
I've been told like at the finals that like by the end of the week, they're like, the barrel racers look so bad signing by the end of the week. Yeah, well, if you were doing 5 a.m. practices and signing for 4 hours a day and trying to talk to people and breathing smoke and trying to focus and make the most important 10 runs of your life that week, you would probably not look your best either. I mean, it's just kind of like people are judgmental about other people's appearances.
People are, just in general. It's just so easy for people to judge other people. It's just,
oh my gosh,
it's so out of control. And with social media and stuff, I mean, you've got especially for a rodeo athlete, you have one of the bigger social media followings out there. So I'm sure you know better than anybody about like just the stupid criticism.
Man, I hate social media. No, I shouldn't say I hate it. I understand there's a purpose for it. I do. It's good. It's positive in some ways. It's great for businesses. It's great for rodeo. But living in that world is hard, and it's hard for anybody, not just us, but it's hard for the average girl, because I just look at my girlfriends, even the ones that don't rodeo, and the pressure that they must feel by looking at the next girl's post. And you know what? So many beautiful girls that rodeo, that don't, that work out, that whatever they do, eat healthy, that are a mom. And it's like, no matter what they do, everybody's going to have something critical to say. Like, you're too skinny, or you're too round, or you're too sporty. I've been told that. Like, you don't look like a girl because you're too sporty. Well, sorry, I'm in a very intense field that I work in. Like, I'm probably not going to look my prettiest face going in the alley every time. So when they zoom in on you, that's not the most flattering thing. But guess what? I'm going to try and take your money. That's why my face looks like this. So then you dress up, and they're like, oh, you can do that too. Why don't you do that more often? It's like, what's the give and take here? Like, people glorify themselves saying, like, individualism is a great thing, be you, blah, blah, blah. But then it's the same people that they can never feel totally confident in themselves because somebody on social media is going to make them feel like they're not enough. Like, and that's just the hardest thing to me, is especially for our generation and girls younger than me. I feel like that's put out there, that we say all the time, like, you are enough, you're an individual, be you. But we also say, but you have to buy these clothes, and you have to look this way, and you have to work out, but not too much to get thick, and you have to fix your hair, but not look like you tried, and you have to put makeup on, but your skin needs to be clear. And it's like, gosh, being a girl right now, it's hard. I don't know. These girls are killing it for what they're doing. I give them credit, but I mean, it makes me care even less, honestly.
Yeah, I really think that's the best way, and it's funny because, like, when we were kids, because we're pretty close in age, I mean, it was like MySpace was just coming around, and like, life was so much easier. I remember, like, being in high school and stuff, and like, I don't think Instagram, Facebook had just barely, like, been out for maybe like a year or two, but there was no Instagram or anything like that. And it's just, life was so much easier, and just the things that you didn't know you were worried about.
Exactly. And you, like, yeah, did we have self-esteem issues in high school? Sure, everybody did, but it wasn't broadcasted, so it didn't matter as much. Now it's like, if you have people can see your life and they won't judge you as much, but they'll judge you a little, but they see your profile, and your profile better be perfect. Right. You better, like, post your best pictures, but also be real, post your ugly ones. But if you post those, like, don't be afraid when people say that that's a really bad picture or something like that. Obviously not that literal, but they'll say something along those lines, or you'll just feel bad because you're like, well, I'm trying to present myself well, but then everybody is also saying, well, no, you need to be two-sided and say every part of your life on social media, and I don't want to do that. I don't know. I feel like there's so much more pressure now, and I wish we lived in a simpler time where it wasn't a thing, it wasn't real, because if you think about it, like, I didn't even have a MySpace, I'm pretty sure. I got a Facebook when I was 15, and that was like a big deal. But they weren't used for the same thing they are now.
No, not at all.
Not
totally different.
Anywhere near. It was really all about the connection, getting to talk to people that you haven't talked to, be friends with your friends from high school or some junior high camp you went to, and you're like trying to connect back with people. It's not about connection anymore. It's about presentation.
It's all about that. Because, okay, yes. I have you had the same Facebook since you... Have you ever got, like, those email? Because I have this thing, my phone and my computer are like 8 years behind for some reason. And you see your old Facebook post and it's like, why was I quoting song lyrics again? No kidding. Today on my Facebook, my memory came up. I think it was like 2010, 2011. I literally put "Life's a Garden, dig it" with a smile, like not even an emoji, there were no emojis back then.
Yes, and a smile. "Life's a garden, dig it." I'm like, why did I need to say that at age 15? But I did.
Because Facebook was totally different. Like, you
wouldn't be judged for that.
No, it was normal. Everybody was doing that. If you did that now, people are like, yeah, why don't you go dig your grave, you moron?
Seriously. It would be, or they would at least look at you and be like, oh, I thought Hailey was cool. That's not cool. That's just weird. I don't know. I feel like there's just so much more judgment now because it's not about connection to people anymore. It's about presentation. It's about, which I understand, like, it's good as an athlete to put a positive thing out there, and I try to be very positive on social media, but it's also like, I wish I could just reach through the phone and tell people, like, care about yourself and care about me, and I'll care about you. That's why this was invented. You know, that's
Right.
what this is for, is to be able to say, like, here's my life. I want to know how your life is doing, not how good do you look today, or what products are you using to look that good? What products do I need to look more like you? What's the ideal look? What's the ideal life? Because there isn't one. And
No, there's not.
And I think people just focus so much on that it gets really taxing to get on social media. I almost feel like more stressed after looking at it. I know studies have shown that too, that people, especially teenagers today, like looking at social media, and the ones that have more social media, they have more stress in their life. And why should that be? It's supposed to be about connecting with your friends and joking around and stuff like that. And it can't be, because it's all about the presentation of how good your page looks.
Oh, in the fitness industry is, and we were talking on the couch with Emily, like the rodeo industry is like 30 years behind, but like the fitness stuff, right? And it was because Emily and I were talking a lot about fitness. Those girls and the guys, it's like, yeah, half of these photos aren't even real. The things that you're trying to strive to be something that's not even a thing that they are.
Exactly.
So
for sure. And that's the thing. You can't tell. You can never tell from a screen, from a picture, what's real. And it's not about filters anymore. #NoFilter. It's not about filters. It's about the fact that a picture with a caption is not what is really going on in somebody's life. Good or bad. It could be better. It could be worse. It could just be unique. But you cannot tell from that. So don't look at that and think, I've got to be that. And that's what I can't stand, is like, no matter what you say, no matter what you post, somebody's going to cast judgment on it. And it can be good, it can be bad, it can be anything, but somebody's going to have something to say, whether they say it to you or not. They're going to think it, and it's always in your mind that, what's someone going to think of this? And it's like, then it makes this big gap between you either care what people think or you don't. And you can't have a nice mix.
No, there's no balance of that.
No.
Because if you let that insecurity, and it's really interesting hearing somebody who is at the top of their respected game talk about that stuff. And I mean, the generation that, like, when I was rodeoing as a kid and you were rodeoing as a kid before, it's totally different.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a different group of people. And it's like
100%.
the girls who are now looking at, like, you and Emily and Ivy and anybody, like, and you guys are, in my opinion, rodeoing in the toughest group that I think's ever existed. It's it's just nuts. But these little girls looking at you guys, I mean, they don't have a hope in the world of really understanding what you're talking about right now if it keeps going the way it's going.
No, they feel like they have to be a certain way or us. Like, and I get messages, and I don't respond to DMs, but I do read them. There's a truth nugget there, a beaver nugget or a truth nugget, whatever you want to call it.
It's a beaver nugget.
It's a beaver nugget now.
Till the end of the day.
That's what it's going to be. So, but no, so one beaver nugget about me. I do occasionally go on and read DMs. I don't respond to them because there's too many, but I do it to kind of know where everybody's at, because my demographic, like the most people that follow me, especially on Instagram and Facebook, is girls ages 18 to 25. So like right below my age level. And then the second biggest that follows is older than that, 25 to 32. So that's kind of my target group. And the only reason that the age 13 to 18 is the third place on that list is because less kids have phones, thankfully. But I feel like they'll catch up pretty soon. But those are the ones that reach out, the kids. I get messages from these kids, and they always ask questions. How did you do it? How did you get there? Get where? This is my life. Like, it's a process. I'm not anywhere. I don't feel like I'm at a point that you need to try and get to this same point. Don't be me. Don't. But go focus on your own process, and you will get to other places. But don't put us, me and Emily and Ivy, and we've talked about this a lot, like, please don't put us on a pedestal. I appreciate it. I think it's really flattering, and I do. But if you're a young girl and you hear this, focus on your own process and realize we're just in a process too. This isn't a place that we've strived to be right here my whole life. I never thought when I was little, I want to be a 2-time world champion so I can go on a podcast and people will listen to me. That's not the goal. It's that I want to enjoy every day. It's that I want to spend time with my horses. Of course, that I want to be a world champion, make the NFR. Everybody does. But then that's great. And I took the steps to get there, and thankfully they worked. But it's not everybody's story. So please don't make my story your story, or try to, because then you won't get to enjoy yours. It's just not as good that way.
That's like super sage-like advice. And and what a lot of these girls don't realize is they think that, like, use the NFR, they think that's the destination, right? And what they don't realize is when you guys are there, well, the season started, the new season started 3 months before that. So you guys are just like trying to get through Vegas just so you can repeat that crazy rat race.
Exactly.
You know, and they see somebody like you, or like, I mean, frick, Ivy won like $180,000 in 10 days, and you just have been killing it for 3 years straight. What they don't realize is how much it took to get there. So they see this this large dollar amount in this 10 days of fame, not realizing that for the last 50 some odd years, 15 people have been doing that every single year.
Exactly.
And it's just, rodeo has one of the shortest memories because there is so many people who come and go.
In and out.
And you being so wise and to be able to, I'm going to say preach, because for some reason I keep drinking with you and I can't think of another word. But, and really it was your buddy Emily who started this whole thing.
She'll do that.
She did it. But to have that kind of like self-awareness, to realize that that's not the destination and you've got so many more things to do and to enjoy. It's every kid who's aspiring to be anything, not even a rodeo athlete, anything. You want to be a business owner.
Yeah.
You want to be a car salesman like you do. And that's the advice kids need.
Oh, for sure. I just wish there was, and it's hard because I'm saying that from a platform of social media, right? Like that's how you converse with people, and I'm telling them, please don't see this and think this is the goal. It's not, and I get that a lot. Your life is goals. It is not. My life is full of goals, for sure. I start every day with them, and I've had them before, and I've got more, and they're changing every day, but my life is not the destination. Please don't look at that and think, I want to get there. Start your own goals. And you get asked, like we've also talked about that, the hard question when you get approached at a jackpot or something by a young kid. Well-meaning, hard-working kids. And I was those kids that probably were, I was the one that was too nervous to talk to, like I'd see Brittany Posey at a jackpot because she lived in the area down by me, and I wouldn't talk to her because I'm like, that's Brittany Posey, I'm not about to go say hi. Why would I do that? And these kids are bold, and that's awesome. I love being talked to, and I love that they'll approach, but they always ask something along the lines of, what's your advice to get to the NFR? And I said, don't think of it that way. Like, and you at the time I might say, well, work hard, whatever. We have our little tag on.
Yep.
But if I'm thinking, and if I've got my best sense about me and time to speak, I'll say something like, don't focus on making the NFR. Be a better barrel racer tomorrow, today. Be a better caretaker of your horse. Be a better student. What's your job right now? Well, they usually either they have a part-time job, or they're like, well, I'm just going to school and I bought my own horse and I'm trying to do it the hard way and I don't have money like everybody else. And I said, nobody did. A lot of us didn't. It's just what you do. You try really hard. And if it works out that you make the NFR, great. But guess what? If you don't, you probably won't feel sorry for yourself. You'll be more grateful that you tried really hard and you accomplished the goals that you set small goals, knock them off, and then wherever it leads you, 5 years from now, you might not even like horses anymore. But at least by then you'll know, like, I did something I can be proud of. And that's how I feel about my life. It's not that I did this, and this, and I'm thrilled. It's that I set little goals, and I know that I can look back and go, I did something I can be proud of. And I hope the next year I can say the same thing. But if I stopped right now and went, my life is goals, I'm going to chill right here, I wouldn't be proud of myself a year from now. So I think that's the thing I want to convey to kids is like, please don't focus on a plateau that you're going to get there and say, I did this and I'm thrilled and I'm done. It's life. It's a process, and it's whatever you want to put on the table next to try for. Great, try it, and then once you knock that off, try the next thing.
Right, and well, you probably know better than anybody that like once you get that goal, it's not like you have this grandiose feeling of fulfillment. It's like, okay, now what? Now we got to keep going. Like,
for sure.
I don't think people realize that, and especially kids, probably because of social media. Because now all you get to see is all this great stuff Hailey Kinsel's doing. Well, yeah, but you don't realize the chick just stayed up for 18 hours straight. Like, that sucks. You sure you want that? Because as someone who decided they did not want that, I mean, it's people just don't realize that, and that it's just, you're almost on a hamster wheel. Or
for sure.
A Buc-ee's wheel or whatever you want to call it.
I don't think that's a
it's
thing.
Not going to stick.
Beaver wheel. That's now we're
every
getting
time
weird
you say
again.
beaver,
See,
you're
freaking out. No, I think that's true. That's the thing is, like I say, the presentation makes it look like this is it. This is what we do. We look good. We run fast. We win stuff. We smile with our friends, and that's true. We do all of that, but the behind the scenes is. You have to love the behind the scenes, like you said. Like, you can try it, and Am I tired after 18 hours straight over the 4th of July? Yes, but I loved that 18 hours. I loved the driving. I loved getting to the rodeo, warming up my horse. I loved even when I hit a barrel and I learned from it, because I learned something. And you might not love it right there at that minute. It might even hurt, but you'll learn something, and I loved the learning. And so that's what you have to crave. Like, you have to figure out what your process is that you love, because if you don't love the process, the destination is so short. I was going into the finals in 18, and I was winning it going in, and at the NFR, any money is good money, so nothing's cushioned. Nothing is a sure bet. I think I saw $80,000 clinched one time to overcome when Nelly won the world a couple years ago. And so yeah, you can do a lot in Vegas, and you have to have a good finals. And I was at a clinic somewhere, and they were having cowboy church, and they asked if I'd say something, and I said something along the lines of like, joy was on my mind, just your joy level, what your joy level is. And I said, if I go to Vegas and come out with the gold buckle, am I going to be satisfied? And most people were kind of like, a little bit nodding along, like, yeah, of course. I was like, because guess what? I'm going to go, what's the next thing? There's something else I haven't won. There's something else I haven't done. And that's not to say that the gold buckle isn't a major goal in my life, and always will be as long as I have a competitive horse or feel like I can. It's everybody's goal that rodeos professionally to get that gold buckle. But does that satisfy you? No, that's not the idea. It doesn't check off and you go, well, I'm good. You might be good in rodeo. I've seen people do that before, but there's something else you want in life. It's part of the process. So your joy level has to reflect how you are about just everything, regardless of your circumstances, regardless of your achievements, regardless of your goals. And that's the thing that's so hard to convey across social media is, I woke up today and I'm thrilled and I'm happy to go at this process, even if it starts off really hard, even if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But you have to be happy about the process and choose joy, because happiness is in your control and starts with you only. And it's like, if you're not able to start that way and you're thinking, well, if I just do this today, then I'll be happy. If I just win the gold buckle, then I'll be happy. If I just make the NFR this year during the coronavirus, at least I'll have something to be grateful for. If you look at it that way, you don't enjoy any of the process. You miss all the little things, and the little things are what makes your life so full. And that's what gives you satisfaction. Those are the things that give you joy.
Good. Wait, do you need to check 1, 2, 3? You're pointing at me directly.
I give you a thumbs up.
2 thumbs up, but I don't know if they're for me because you're just staring at
If I
me.
point to you, that means you can go.
Well,
it's
this is the first
coronavirus.
I've ever heard of that.
You got to do the finger guns. That's the only way people know what's going on. Is because it's coronavirus. You can't shake hands. You can't high five. You just got to finger gun.
No, people are doing the
elbow
thing.
Dude,
Yeah.
I went.
Stop elbowing me.
It's kind of awkward because I went to like early on and to shake somebody's hand, and they were like, "Oh," and so I'm like, I got my hand extended, towards them, and they just turn and they're like smiling and do the elbow thing, and it hits my hand, and I'm like, this is where do I go from here? I'm just slicking my hair back right now. Like, it was so awkward. So it's been a very awkward adjustment period. So now I'm like not even trying. I'm just standing a few feet away, where that way like they can't, try and elbow me, and I can't try and hug them. Like, I have to put up a boundary, or I'm gonna get physical, and they're gonna feel weird, and yeah, I don't know. It's just
She
it's unsafe.
smiles too much, and she will not stop hugging me.
Sorry. Like I said, either complete flat face and standing 5 feet away, or I'm gonna hug you and talk too much and
You
smile.
do not know what to do inside of 4 to 1 foot away from somebody.
There's no middle.
Yeah.
That's why horses are so good, because like I can see all my friends from the back of my horse, and I can wave at them and I can smile, and that's a safe distance, because you don't have to worry about like, are we doing the hug? Are we doing the handshake, the high five? Are we just waving? We all pretty much just wave. Yeah, so that's safe. So I do like warming up at a rodeo, and you're just like, hey, wave at somebody, and they wave back, and you don't have to worry about the awkward, like, are we in for the hug? Are we fist bumping? Finger guns? What is it? So
Wait, show me how you do your finger guns again.
quick draw McGraw over
I
here.
am so glad those were not real guns. I was so scared.
They are real guns.
Shit, no shit. You've been obviously making it to the gym more than me lately.
No, but I did unload my trailer of hay by myself, like a
That's what your
trooper.
pump's from.
That's what it is. But well, do your finger guns.
No, I'm uncomfortable
Do
with
them. Oh no, that's really bad. Oh, that was better.
it. John Wick.
Okay, thank you.
How's that?
That you could be John Wick.
You're the
You
expert.
might be. You
Yeah.
might actually be.
I Probably no. Just enough to be done.
Yep, that's you.
Okay, underrated movies though. John Wick is the shit.
Dude.
I do not care what anybody says.
No, I totally agree. Absolutely thrilling.
If you don't like John Wick, you don't like life.
I'm with you. But if you don't like Buc-ee's, you don't like life. Oh, we're back.
We have come full circle. Let's just take a big steamy you know what right on Chance's head. Again.
Sorry. Sorry. It's
That
so
escalated
easy.
quickly.
I'm such an easy target. I'm so easy to make fun of.
No, you're not so easy. Like, that's so easy. It's just like
It
we
is.
walked in today and had that one thing, and then it won't leave.
It
kinda
literally
like
has
Ivy.
been the topic of conversation all day.
Oh, absolutely. Like when I first met Ivy, like we got compared a lot because especially at my first couple finals, because she was on J-Lo and I was on Sister, and they both are yellow and have long manes, and we have brown hair. And for some people, that's enough. We're the same person. So I've been asked, like, how's J-Lo doing? I'm like, she's great. Sign my name and hand it to them, and they don't ever catch on. And she gets asked all the time, like, how's Sister? And she's like, I'm sure she's good. So I don't know how.
Sure, she's great.
We get mixed up on social media a lot. So when they came out with the Snapchat filters where you can put glasses on,
You did it.
a lot. A lot. And I'm like, look, I'm Ivy. I've got my wind goggles on. I'm ready to go. Go fast on J-Lo.
Like, she's more famous for the fact that she wears glasses than actually her barrel racing
The only
accolades.
difference between us, really, if you ask everybody.
Well, I mean that, and she's a significantly larger person than you.
Oh,
She's just bigger.
So really? Where?
She's taller.
She's not taller.
Ivy? Taller than you?
Okay, look, when I look at people and I can see their eyes right about here, that means we're the same height. We don't actually measure.
You might be really
You don't-
close. I don't know. I've just always
We are
thought
really
of Ivy
close,
as,
actually.
Yeah, Ivy is just being like a more muscular than normal person.
I mean, she's not like, I just don't think of her as huge. Like, she doesn't scare me.
She doesn't?
Well, she probably does a little bit. Like, I wouldn't make
Well,
her
you're
mad.
her friend. But
Yeah.
I can tell you from what I've seen, I'm scared of her.
Well, you're supposed to be.
I've seen her
Or
whip,
her,
whip
yeah,
some
her-
ass.
Well, yeah, for sure. But see, she's my friend, so it's fine.
It is fine.
Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, get him, Ivy. Let me hold your glasses, you know? Sorry, Ivy. I hope you're listening.
Yeah, I'm so
I'm
sorry.
putting you in,
Ivy.
Coach.
You keep coming up on pretty much every podcast, but that's what happens when you're the first one.
Guys,
Like, you have to
it does.
compare to that, which everyone seemed to love.
Well, it was awesome. I loved her podcast. I listened to it as soon as I found out this was going on, and was thrilled because she got so real. And there's so many times we get interviewed a lot, and we don't have a lot of time to talk. We usually talk about our horses, which is what's most important in barrel racing. So obviously that's what we're going to gravitate to. But she did a great job of just talking about life and the hard parts, and the way she said, like, she's living proof that you can overcome anything, any bad situation, and you have control of your life. And treating people good and taking care of your horse can get you a long way. And she's proof of that. I mean, you've seen it with J-Lo. That horse runs so hard for her, tries for her. I've told her that over and over again. Like, she puts on a clinic of consistency every time she runs that horse. And I think that's so impressive. So I was really glad to hear like a genuine side of her that we all know, but to be put out there and broadcasted. And she just was real about all of it. And it's not very often we get to be real 100% because of being under a microscope all the time. I remember being asked, I was on Flint Rasmussen's show at the finals. I think it was my first year, and being asked about like pressures and social media and sponsors. And I said, well, you know, one thing that's significant is I think I was 23 at the time. So I was like, I'm a kid, and I appreciate that I get messages from moms and parents or whatever, grandparents all the time that say like, I really like that my kid watches you. I feel like you're a good influence. And that means the world to me. Don't get me wrong. It means the world to me, and that's what I would want to be on social media. But they also say something like, you're the only one that I don't have to monitor them watching. And I'm like, monitor? Please monitor your kid, whatever they're watching, because I'm still a human. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to go post all the negative stuff that I do, but I am saying, like, I'm going to make mistakes some. So even though we have a platform and we have to live on it, we are still human. So please treat us as humans, and please understand, like, we're young humans too. We're making some mistakes in the world. Like, they'll say, like, you know, you ride great. I tell my kid, ride like that. Don't tell your kid ride like that. Tell your kid ride correct. Tell your kid go to a clinic. If I have a clinic someday, you bring your kid there, but don't just watch runs and say, do that, because it doesn't work for everybody. My life doesn't work for everybody. My choices don't work for everybody. So I just wish people would kind of look at athletes, even rodeo athletes, in the good old boy world that we live in. We are still people, and we're still humans. We're still young and trying our best out here, but don't turn your kid loose on us. I'm not ready to raise a kid yet, and I feel like there's a reason for that, and I'm definitely not ready to raise yours. So I think that's super important, not just in barrel racing, but just in life. As an example, Ivy does a great job, Emily does a great job trying to be a good example. And I try really hard with what I post, with what I do, with how I am in public, what I say over a microphone. But in the end, I'm still a human. So I want those families to be able to go back and talk about how I handle things, whether it's handling my run or handling my interview. I want them to talk about it openly and honestly and be able to criticize if they need to. So that their kids can learn like what they want to learn as far as values go, instead of just learning my way of doing things.
Totally. And it's really cool to see you, with all you've done in such a short amount of time, kind of be so humble like that. But, you mentioned it, the good old boys thing. And that's, for me personally, that's always been my issue with rodeo, is like if you watch Sports Center or take any other sport, right? Mm-hmm. You can watch Sports Center all day, in my opinion. I'm not even that big into sports, but it's entertaining. Mm-hmm. And people are able to like take any comeback story of any athlete who screws up, right? Mm-hmm. Like they screw up big time. I mean, some of these athletes, big time.
Yeah, huge.
But like their journey to come back, it's like so romanticized.
It is.
And it's I actually, okay, this sounds bad, but I actually think that's better than like the pretending that everybody, the God-loving cowboys and thank you, Mom, thank you, Jesus, and thank you, my sponsors, and that's all you get out of rodeo people. One reason is you don't have enough time.
Mm-hmm. Or
right?
coverage.
Or coverage.
Yeah.
You just don't.
Definitely.
I mean, the most coverage that you guys get outside of social media, because if you didn't have social media, it'd be like the rodeo athletes of old, before they even increased the money. It wasn't even that long ago. It's just like so subcultured. Like, yeah, okay, you knew who Sherry Serby was, and you knew who Tough Hedeman were. You can name a handful of people,
right?
But rodeo athletes have never got like shine as athletes, and it's starting to change. But what hasn't changed is the mentality towards them.
It's still stuck on that culture of, and it's great. Like I'm with you. Don't get me wrong. We are God-loving cowboys. We always will be. That's the nature of the Western world, and that is the thing that we try and cling to. But we also, because of that, I've been told to my face, you're a hypocrite. You say nice things on camera, but then you might screw up in life. Well, yeah, I'm still a human. I'm trying my best, and I only get 5 seconds of a mic time after winning something once or twice a year. And I'm going to say something positive because that's all I get. And if somebody out there hears it, I want it to be something positive, and I want it to be something about my Lord and Savior or my great horse. And if I can talk about those things and mention my sponsors, I'm going to do it. But because we don't get the rest of the coverage that regular athletes do, they can't see us as people. And so then even our friends, even somebody that knows you outside of it or finds out something about you and they think it's terrible, they're going to say like, wow, I thought you were better than that. And do you think anybody's ever like a wrestler or something, or a boxer that gets in a fight at the bar, they expect that of them because they're real people, like they have a lot of pressure on them. Nobody ever says that about a rodeo athlete. Well, he had a lot of pressure. Well, yeah, they probably should, because trying to make money at all doing this, make a living doing this, is a lot of pressure.
We'll take the people who have actually successfully set themselves up for life with rodeo. Mm-hmm. Tiny handful of people.
Exactly.
And then the rest of the people, thousands of people, went broke trying to do it.
Yes.
There's no stability there like there is. Like if you play for the Major League Baseball, you play in the MLB, the NFL, any of that, you're pretty well set for the most part,
For sure.
Rodeo's not like that. It's just...
It's just so, it is hard. It's very unpredictable. It is amazing when people do it. And I think that's what people expect to be able to make a living rodeoing, and you can't expect that. You should be really grateful, and people should be more surprised when you can, because that was just like, wow, you must have put in a lot of work to try and make a living doing this, because it's not about getting lucky. I've been told, you know, if I have a horse like Sister someday, I'm going to do it too. And I'm like, that's great enthusiasm, but it ain't that easy. It's just not. And so it should be more, not saying people should be more impressed with me, but they should be more impressed with rodeo athletes as a whole that are successful over and over again, that make the finals multiple times, that show up on multiple horses in the barrel racing and win, and that are able to feed themselves and their families and the rest of their horses and contribute back to the industry while still doing this, because it is that hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the amount of daily work that you have to put in, anybody who shows up to rodeo, even people who don't make it to Vegas, the amount of work you have to put in to go to 60 rodeos a year, I don't think people even realize the cost associated with that. And they see these big numbers at the end of the year, but you don't realize, and I think Ivy's podcast helped a lot. It's like, I pulled up to Vegas, negative 4,000 in my account.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how could you want all that money? It was like, that's how much it took to even get there.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's the part that not only people don't talk about, can't talk about, don't get the time to talk about, but it, like I said, it's like they don't realize it. And I don't want to make rodeo sound negative, like, don't let your kid do this sport. It's a great sport. I learned so much, and I learned so much going broke because it's good for you. You build character that way, but is it something that's meant for everybody? No, it's something that's meant for the tough ones and the ones that are smart enough to take care of a horse and be able to set goals and set a budget and handle it and be able to present yourself well. Be able to work with sponsors, be able to work with companies, work with rodeo committees, whatever you can do to make the industry better. But I do agree that there is, back to that point, there's such a stigma about, well, I have to be so good and this perfect persona every time I'm seen because, we got to promote this well. And I understand like the industry's trying to grow, but it also, it's hard on a human to be perfect all the time. And I think that's, if anything people can take away from me is that God can use an imperfect person. I haven't had like terrible storms in life. I've been through my fair share of things, but I am not nailing it every day. I am trying to nail it every day, trying really hard. But God can even use me to do good things, great things for him without me killing it every time, even whether it's barrel runs or not. But I'll use barrel runs as an example. I wrote down last year during the year every rodeo that I took Sister to and TJ to in notes on my phone, and somehow I got rid of that, deleted it on accident, switch phones, whatever. But it was really cool because I wrote down the number of runs I made and the percentage that I won money at those. And Sister is incredible and arguably one of the best, I think, in barrel racing right now. And she's still, I think I won money on her at 2/3 of the rodeos, and I had a great year. I mean, great. And that's 2/3. But if we only get to post our good runs, and obviously I don't post bad ones because it kind of makes the horse look bad when it's usually my fault. Like 99% of the time, my fault. But still, I try and post the positive stuff, but people only care when you win. They kind of rub it off when you lose. But it's like, yeah, but you don't realize when I lost, it cost me just as much to go lose as it did to go win. So it's just a matter of, did it fall just right? Well, I feel the same way about life and the choices you make. Like, it cost me just as much effort to go make a good choice as it does to make a bad one. It cost me just as much effort to try really hard and nail it in a relationship, in your life, in anything you do, or you cross paths with people, in getting that sponsorship or not getting it. It cost me just as much effort and just as much try. But if I did things differently or if I made a different choice, the result's different. And that's okay. That happens. That's part of it. I can, let it roll off my back like water on a duck's back when it's a barrel run. When it's other things, it's like we put so much more pressure on it. And I try and, something I try and do in my head is like look at life like a barrel run. If I set myself up to go win first, like I've rode my horse every day this week, her feed programs have been great. I showed up in time for the rodeo. I parked in a good spot. I warmed up good. I had my horse tuned. Then if I don't do any good, that's okay because I gave it my best shot. Well, same thing in your choices, same thing in your relationship, same thing in your life. Like if I'm going to give myself the best opportunity to win first at whatever I'm doing, then if it fails, it fails. But at least I know I tried. And that's what I wish, like I say, I wish I could convey that better. Which if I had enough words, like right now, I feel like I can, but there's just not enough time on social media. There's never enough time in an interview to convey that to a kid, to be able to say that's what matters is the effort and the process. The end goal is fleeting. It comes and it goes, and it comes just as fast, and they'll forget you after you get it. You know?
Short memory in rodeo.
For sure. But that process is what matters in every single choice, in every single run.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we're going to have to pair for all this advice, I think. I mean, you're just on a roll, and I just cannot imagine.
We could go to Buc-ee's and you could get
And I can
snacks.
pick up the tab.
Yeah, exactly.
Done.
There we
Absolutely done. But, you know, it's just when you see somebody who is at the literal top of, I mean, there's probably more aspiring barrel racers than there are any other rodeo sport, I would have to say. The only thing that's comparable to barrel racing's team roping, but I still think there's probably more barrel racers than there are team ropers.
Probably.
And
because they all rope with each other, so it seems
do.
like more. You know what I mean?
It does.
It's like inflation.
It does. But I mean, you go to any town or area in pretty much every state, and there's a barrel race on the weekends.
my
I mean,
gosh.
there's millions of barrel racers.
When I moved to Stephenville, the reason I moved to Stephenville was because there is a barrel race within an hour every night of the week. Every single night. And before, like living in Cotulla, it was a long ways anywhere, maybe once or twice a month, and it'd be 2 or 3 hours, so it's a lot easier to see some colts that way. But it just shows you, because you can show up on a Monday night and there will be 100 entered, and you go the next day on a Tuesday to the other jackpot somewhere else, and maybe a couple of the same people. It'd be amazing if you were one of the same, but it's a whole different group. And yeah, the sport is so broad. Barrel racing is so broad. It covers a lot of areas and just so many people. And that's what's great about it, is it is a sport everybody can play however much they want. They don't have to go the level we do, but anybody can barrel race, anybody can play the game. So yeah, there's just so much of it.
Oh, there's so much of it. And when you're the top of anything, like you are, like Ivy is, like really, I mean, you could say anybody in the top 15, but you are probably one of the ones who's looked at the most lately. And, you know, for people to kind of get to hear you be authentic like that, instead of just the little sound clips or the little 15-second runs or 13-second runs if you're in Vegas, you know? I mean, it's just, I think that's what people need to hear. The next generation needs to hear, because you didn't really get to hear that from like your idols, or I didn't get to hear it from my idols because they just didn't have a platform. I mean, early 2000s, and nothing was televised except for the NFR.
I mean, yeah, you probably stayed up and watched the NFR like I did every night, because it was the only barrel racing you saw on TV. And I was like staying up with my homework middle of the night because it's super late in Texas, and you're watching just because you crave it. And now it's great for those that crave it because it's everywhere. I mean, for us, like, I love it because I can get on and watch runs anytime. I've watched every YouTube video of a great barrel run that's ever been made many times. Every NFR over and over again that I've already seen. The access is there. So yes, we do have more of a platform. It's just that the way the platform is used right now, it could be adjusted a little bit. I've enjoyed like every opportunity I've gotten to expose the real side a little bit. Started writing a column in Barrel Horse News a year ago, and that's been really fun, just to talk about things that I don't get to talk about in a quick interview, or you don't get to say right after the rodeo that you won, or in the social media post or something like that. It's just never long enough. And granted, I talk a lot, so obviously y'all can tell that by now. But that's another thing. I'm either like very quiet and say hi, or I talk a whole lot. It's kind of like with my hugging and my smiling, like same little zone there. So I'm spewing my personality too, which is not good for everyone to hear, but y'all can see the real side of it. But yeah, it's like I feel like a lot of people out there probably feel like they know me, and that's great. I love that connection, but you don't.
Right.
So here's a little more introduction to it. Oh, here's a fun thing. I am equally right-brained and left-brained. Like I'm a dead split.
Okay, that's a statement to make. How did you find that out?
Well,
where's the science? Let me see the study. I want to see the brain scan.
I should do a brain scan. And I never have. I say that because I have wondered for years. Like, you probably know, right? What do you think you are?
Literally never thought about it.
Are you more analytical or more creative?
Oh, definitely more creative. I
Okay.
am a mess.
You're for sure.
It's us. It's actually surprising that I've been able to accomplish anything in business and even like show up on time to do a podcast.
Yeah.
But because I guess if you're left-handed, you're right-brained. Is that the whole?
I think something like that. I'm not really sure. But so, because here's the issue. Like, I've taken every test, like, I Google these tests and try and quizzes to try and figure out which one, because I'm either hardcore analytical. I love spreadsheets. I was an econ major in college. Like, I really like studying. I really like laying all my groundwork. I feel like I make my run from the time I leave the house, from the time, judging how much time it takes me to get to the rodeo, park correctly, get in a nice spot, keep him in the shade, get him watered, get sis ready, and everything. But then I get to the run part, and I just, like, let it loose, like let go, and it feels like everything just flows after that. And if I don't let it go and I try and control everything, it's not good. I know very well, though, I just spent all this time laying my groundwork, and now right brain kicks in, and I just feel like a surfer. And same thing, like, especially if I'm at home and I ever get bored, which quarantine has made me bored for the first time ever. But I picked up my guitar. I play a lot of music. I'm like into art. I love lots and lots of different types of music. Like, I have this weird right brain side that just mixes in with my analytical side. So that's another reason my personality is probably super broad spectrum, and I either hug you or stay 5 feet away. I can't figure it out. I haven't even figured it out myself.
Wait, so you play the guitar?
I play the guitar and the piano. I grew up playing the fiddle and dabbled with the mandolin for a second there, and I really wanted to be a drummer, like, so bad.
Really?
But my mom only let me get one drum, and so I just play that one, and it never went anywhere from there. Yeah, I thought I was really good. Played the Kleenex box as much as possible in the back seat, but yeah, that one didn't take off. But yeah, I loved
so
music.
You had
and
all these like artistic hobbies growing up. Mm-hmm. How do you go from like wanting to be a drummer to deciding you want to be a professional barrel racer? Like,
probably because I had no talent at drumming. I did have some with the horse.
What about the fiddle? I mean, you look like a regular Charlie Daniels over here. I can just see it.
Maybe less beard, but yeah. Just a little less.
Depends on how long you're in quarantine.
It does.
Probably could grow a better beard than me.
Some people might be able to, so it's scary. But anyhow, I don't know. I loved music. I played sports, and I loved some sports. I loved gymnastics, but the horses were always in my life. There was never a time I didn't run barrels or want to, and that's always what I wanted more. It was just a matter of like, well, these things would honestly be easier. Like, it would be a lot easier for me to keep taking music lessons and do something in that direction. But that's not what I wanted to do. So unfortunately, I played tennis a little bit when I was in junior high and was fairly good. And my mom was like, sitting in the country club watching from the window in the AC, drinking lemonade, is way more fun than going to a rodeo and getting really dirty and being hot and sweaty all day. And I was like, I know, but I like it better. and my mom's super supportive of that. But I feel like that's what it did for me, was like, that's what I was passionate about. And you have to be passionate about something to really enjoy the process. I like playing guitar. I like playing the keyboard. I played in my church band. Do I love practicing? Not really. It's good. It's fun. It's a nice pastime, but it's not what I crave every day. What I crave is saddling a horse. What I crave is spending an hour and a half on a difficult colt. That's what's fun.
You referenced your mom wanting us in that country club. So your mom really didn't have anything to do, or your dad with
horses?
Oh, no,
they
did.
They did. They probably just didn't want me to try what they tried. But
they both tried to go?
They both rodeoed a little bit. My dad didn't pass college. I mean, he still ropes, and we ranch and run cattle, so he's grown up in it. But he youth rodeoed and was real successful, and college rodeoed, and he just was really smart and got a degree and a good job after college. And my mom wanted to rodeo some, but didn't ever have the funds to go or the great horse, but she was really handy, so she worked for a lot of trainers and learned a lot, different disciplines, and always had a hand in horses, always come back to the barrel racing. And so it was always there. Mom always had a barrel horse and really good kid horses, because they always had safe horses for us to take care of us. And we would work cattle, and we had to know how to work cattle because that was what we did. So it was just like rodeo that was easy access, because if we wanted to enter the play day, our parents were like, yeah, if you want to. And my brother, who's older than me, he did it just the same, but he just kind of, by the time you have to get serious, about age 13, 14, he was like, I'm good. For me, that was when it was like, nope, that's it. That's the thing.
I get it. Yeah. So you got your pro card in 2015, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when did you get sister? Was that in 15 or was it the year before? Or?
No, so we bought her as a 2-year-old, and I was a freshman in college, which would have been the fall of 2013. So yeah, she was 2. We bought her a 2-year-old sale in 2013, and I remember because I was actually looking for a horse. It was right before I bought TJ. It was the first barrel horse I'd ever bought that was like going, and that mom didn't train or I didn't have a hand in, and we when we bought him. It was right before, after that I bought him, but we bought this 2-year-old, and I was like, oh great, we just bought a 2-year-old, and what I really need is a horse that can go, because I want a college rodeo, and I wanted to do that. Thankfully found him a little bit after that, and he's who got my feet wet. I filled my permit on him in 2015 that summer, and just kind of got the hang of things. He's who got me into some of the winter rodeos in 2017, and then Sis just came on all of 2016 and 17, and 17 was her breakout year where she really did some good.
And then 18, 19, you just completely dominated everybody. I mean, what was it? And now we're going to get into the corny stuff that we're like, oh, we shouldn't talk about that. But I actually want to know, like, what was it like when you realized that, okay, I've got a horse that is at the top of the elite. Like there's the elite, but then there's this horse. Like when did you know that and just realize that it's going to be very hard for anybody to beat me? It's a weird thing, but like, Mike Tyson knew that he was the best and nobody could beat him, so he could talk about it. No,
I get it. It was 2016. That was the first year I entered her at all. She was a 5-year-old, and when the first pro rodeo I entered, she placed among the toughest horses. The second one I entered, she placed. The third one I entered, she won. And right then I was like, this isn't normal, I don't think. I'm not 100% sure, but it shouldn't be this easy, because I had spent the last 2 years trying to rodeo and realizing how hard and how tough it was. And good job. Great spill. But anyhow, yeah, so I think I knew the difficulty level from those 2 years. So when I'm starting in 2016 that summer with her, and like, well, this is a good slack, I'll run her, and she just, boom, it's easy. And she would make mistakes all over the place, never made 2 runs that looked the same to me or felt the same, and they were fast enough to win without being perfect. And that's when I kind of got the feeling like, I think she's really special. And then 2017 took her to her first rodeo perf, Denver, and she ends up second in the average. And she's like kind of spooking at the walls and bouncing off of them, and still ends up second in the average and ties with Tiani Schuster, and that was in Tiani's rain year. She was
killing everybody then.
Yeah, and then the American happens, and there were so many rodeos along in there that I got on Sis that I wasn't even planning to ride her. I was going to get on TJ, and I was like, well, it's a good setup, I'll get on her. I got on her, and she'd win it by half a second. I got on her, and she smokes the American, wins $500,000 in a day. And it's like, how's she pulling these things off? I don't know. I'm just here and trying to make the best choices right in the middle. I'm trying to run her at the right places, and then she wins the college finals. She's still spooky. She's spooky to this day. And I wasn't sure how she'd do in a yellow arena. Thankfully, that's paid off. But the first one I went to was college finals, and I was like, she's going to be kind of difficult in there. She doesn't really like a closed gate, so that's going to be kind of hard. And she wins it with mistakes, not doing everything right. And so for me, it's just like, I just wanted to get to that point where I could make 3 runs that looked the same in a row. And I knew when I did, it was going to be good. And we got to the finals in 17. And that's when it really set in, because the first round, you just want to have a good first round. Like Ivy talked about that. You just want to get through your first round. Not even the goal to be like Emily and go win the first round. It's your first NFR. But just go have a solid run. And I was nervous, so I was a little tight. But I felt like we bounced off the walls. But it was clean. It was okay. It was really rough. And we came out, and I heard, because it's kind of loud and muffled as you run out, I heard 1467. I was thrilled, because I was like, we survived my first run, my first NFR. I get to the back, and my mom's like, okay, great job. Wow, I think you're third. And I was like, what? And she said 1367. It felt awful. It felt terrible, but I survived it. Second run, I hung my spur. I kind of got on the outside, hung my spur in her girt, the front girt, and it was weird. And so she bounces off the third barrel and runs way wide, ends up third in the round again, I think. And I was like, how am I doing this? So I just kind of felt like, man, if I could nail this. And then third round, and I nailed it. And she breaks the arena record by 2.5 tenths. That's been long-standing for a long time, and it's tough there, and that's the toughest of the tough. And when she did that, it was like, man.
That horse is an absolute freak, and you just...
I'm just up here.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you talk to 15 people, and all 15 in the top 15, they would say that's the best horse in the field. And I mean, when you won the American deal, I mean, how just insane was that for you? I mean, that's the biggest check that to this day that you can't beat that check. But
no, and at the time it was still, I knew she's that good because she just beat all these horses, but it was still so. It gave everybody a lot of hope that like, oh, anybody can do it, and that's great. But what was crazy for me was she went on and proved it after that it wasn't a one-time deal. Because I still didn't know up until that point. Like, I'm still thinking like this was amazing, and I'm glad it happened. But did I ever think I was going to be able to do it twice? No. At the time, I was just kind of like, this is awesome, and great things happen, and praise God, and we'll go on. But did I know that she was just going to keep doing that? I can't say I did. And I knew her as well as anybody did, better than anybody did. And so, yeah, it's just it's nice how they surprise you, I guess.
It's unbelievable.
She just keeps doing it. So it's just my job to keep her. I feel like if I can keep her fit, keep her sound, keep her happy, keep her correct, and just set her up to make a good run, it will be good. And I know that. And it is fun to run down the alley on something that if you leave the barrels up and it's a nice run, you either first or second. I mean, that's a crazy, crazy feeling. And when you don't get on that horse, you miss that for sure, but it makes you appreciate what she's able to do because it is not normal.
It's definitely not normal.
No.
You can look at 50 years of history that says this is not normal.
Yeah.
It's a few horses like in different things, like a couple race horses and just things like that. But what's crazy about that mare is that she's 9.
Yeah, she's 9.
She's only 9.
Mm-hmm.
She's a young rodeo horse.
For sure, and she's been very sound. She's never had an issue. She's just is what she is. What's fun to me is, like, there's so much respect among the rodeo athletes with their horses. I know every good horse in every other event, and they know ours too. And the barrel racers, of course, is amazing when somebody votes for your horse for horse of the year because you think the world of your horse, and of course we all do, but for them to think the world of your horse, that's awesome. I was actually at Houston, and she's kind of quirky about some things, and something I did made her mad, and she took off across the parking lot at the rodeo village with her halter, like it's all closed in, but I was just like frustrated. I'm trying to leave for the rodeo, and I'm laughing, and some calf roper catches her, and I said something, they said something like, "What'd you want for this one?" Just joking because they knew who she was. And I was like, "Oh, she's free right now, haha." And I had 5 people, and they were guys, and they were standing by the trailer, go, I'll take her. And she would not make a calf horse, like not at all, because she's scared of ropes. But it was still kind of funny because it's like when people know your horse better than they know you, that's really cool. Like if there's anything that's like, that's the goal. That's the goal.
That's definitely the goal.
That makes you feel good.
Well, and Ivy and I were talking about like winning horse of the year and what that means to like somebody who raised them or I mean, when you get a horse at a 2-year-old, you might as well have raised them. But that's like the ultimate honor for the horse, right? Because
for sure,
they get to win and they get their name mentioned and all that. But I mean, you're kind of the face of that. But you get that bronze trophy horse of the year. I mean, because we got it for Tibby. I mean, it's just that forever will be associated with that horse being one of the best,
Absolutely. And I think what's special about that, as opposed to just every other win, is when you win, it's straight up across the board. You made the best run. That's awesome to be commended for. But when you win that award, it's voted on by your peers.
It's an opinion. It's everybody's opinion.
Yeah. And it's not just everybody that watches, because I bet in a Facebook poll, Sister and J-Lo might win a lot. But for your peers that you just spent the whole year going down the road with to say, nope, that one stood out. That's what's really special. Donna K. Rule was talking about that. I saw her at Waco right after Valor won Horse of the Year this past year. And she was just so honored and thrilled. And I said, I remember that feeling of thinking like, I think the world of my horse, but to know that you do too, that makes me feel good because you're the one that takes care of him every day and that has to be responsible for setting him up for that success. So if you're able to do that, like they think the world of your horse, but that also says a lot about you. And that's really special too.
Kind of to transition back over to coronavirus because we got to milk that while we can before it's gone. I mean, you've been playing guitar, you've been playing the fiddle, but has been doing anything
I don't play the
else?
fiddle anymore, but I played in high school.
You should get a fiddle.
I know, right? Yeah, everybody should get a fiddle.
Anybody who doesn't have a fiddle, get a fiddle.
I got a fiddle now. No, I actually just ordered a keyboard. I haven't played one in a couple years. That was in my church band in college, and so I play that and was like I want to get that. I kind of want to get back into that. I liked it more. But anyways, what was the question? What else? So I got off on the fiddle.
You did. Yeah, it's fiddles, Buc-ee's, and barrel horses.
What
I guess,
barrel
for
horses?
you.
Yeah,
You're an open book.
But coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean, what else have you been doing? I mean, you've
Riding.
Are you in Stephenville by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I have a barn apartment there. I haven't built a house yet. Still working on that. I've got the plans drawn up, so I'm really excited about that. That's going to be a long process, but when I built the barn, we put this little like shoebox size 1-room apartment on it, thinking like it's perfect temporary. Plug the trailer in, get out of the trailer, wash some clothes. It's been a year and a half, and I'm still in the barn apartment, but I've lived in a horse trailer in a dorm room, so it's really not that big of a deal. I'm fine with it. It's a little tight with a lot of dogs, so I just have the one dog that goes inside. When I had 2 dogs, that was really tight. But anyhow, that's another story. The dogs make things much smaller, and so yeah, I've been kind of thinking about my house and planning that, and we're just taking care of horses and riding. I've got to spend a lot of time riding. I've stayed on my horses. I never really got off them after the American because we didn't know when it was going to start back, and I didn't want to be late to the party. And all of mine, especially Sis, does really well staying in shape. Like if I was to give them 2 weeks off, it would take 4 or 5 to get them back in shape. So I don't want to be behind that bubble. So I just stayed on them, like light exercising every day since then, and I feel like they're really sound, really fit, and if we get to go somewhere this summer, we're ready to go, which is great. If not, it doesn't hurt them because they're not making runs, they're not having that stress on their body, but at least they're fit and they're sound, and I'm glad about that. And I don't have a walker or anything yet, so it's just me riding them. So I'm just kind of just spending the day riding. I had 2 colts babies this year, and they're really pretty. One's a full brother to sister, and the other's a 3/4 brother, and so that's been really fun. Been kind of messing with them, halter breaking them, and yeah, that's been the deal.
So I don't mean to be insensitive to all the great stuff you just said, but how many dogs are we talking here?
Not that many dogs, but healers. I had 2 at a time, and I had like this older one that I've had for a while, and then I got a puppy. And the puppy is kind of a little hellion. And because I don't have a dog yard of any kind yet, she had to go live with my mother because 1-room apartment with 2 healers, and one of them being a puppy healer, that turns into a lot. It feels like 5 dogs. It's not a lot. It's not really that many dogs. It just feels like a lot. And then I have a Pyrenees puppy that's, when I say puppy, like she lives outside.
So
she lives outside.
Hold on.
Stop counting.
I'm not that great at counting, but so we're at 3 and 1 at your mom's.
Well, no. That's the one that was the puppy went to my mom's. So now
So we're at 2.
Yeah, we're at 2. So that's only 2 now. Is the one that lives with me. That's the healer. That if you know me, you know Darby. Darby goes everywhere. She's a little white healer, and she just sticks by my side. Coolest dog ever. She was my mom's dog, but I lost mine a couple years ago, and she gave me hers, and because I've never traveled without one, and so that was really cool. So Darby goes everywhere. Darby's the coolest dog ever. And then there's Shug, and she is a Pyrenees. She's about 8 or 9 months old, and she's massive, like big old girl, and still growing.
Wait, Pyrenees is what kind of dog is
the
that?
Great White Pyrenees that like you see like
the
with
giant sheep dogs?
Yes. So they were 3 of them 2 days before the NFR, before I was supposed to leave. These puppies got dumped on my road, and they were curled up under my mailbox. I came back from a jackpot, and there were these 3 white fluff balls, and I got out of the truck, and it's the middle of the night, and they just come like burrowing up to me, and I'm like, I gotta take them because I'm not gonna leave them there. So I throw them in the horse trailer and pull up to the house, get back and send a video to all of my friends and really proud family, like, look what I got. And of course I was easily able to find homes for them because they're cute puppies, and people pay a lot of money for Pyrenees puppies, so I'm very surprised they were dumped. But either way, I asked around, couldn't find out whose they were. We imagine they were dumped. So Derek Begay's mom has one of them. I hauled one to Arizona on the way to the finals. The other one went to a friend in South Texas, and I kept one. And of course I kept one because why wouldn't you, right? So Shug does not come in the house because she's a big old girl.
Why wouldn't you? I can't think of any reason.
Exactly. So anyway, she just kind of roams around and hangs out, and has absolutely no purpose. But she did actually, when I had those colts this year, she made me feel there because she lays out in front right by their pens, and she'd bark. And we have some coyotes around there. Never saw a trace of one. No, don't see any varmints or anything like that. And I don't think she's a hunter at all because she's not real coordinated and like slow, all those things. But she barks, and she's big, so it's kind of like, well, There you go. She's a pretty good watchdog. She'll bark. She'll let you know when somebody's pulling up. So for that reason, it made me feel good. Like, at least it's like a security blanket.
Yeah, there
big
you
old
go.
girl. The healer would probably tear you up, but she won't. She'll just give me a big old hug.
Well, there you go. You're so much going on that's like not barrel racing. It's like
A lot
we don't
going
even have
on.
to talk about barrel racing because between your teeth, your dogs, and your love for Buc-ee's, we could just go
Yeah.
all day.
We really could. We really could. What's barrel racing again?
Well, considering that what Cave Creek was the first one that's been televised in how long?
Yeah,
You didn't want to go.
You know, we have a group text, Ivy and Emily and I do. I shouldn't say that. We don't have a group text. Erase that. We do. We talk about all things life and rodeo. And I think I was Ivy. I said something about Cave Creek, and Ivy was like, I'm thinking about going. And Emily starts saying, who's entered? And Ivy's like, maybe I'm not going to go. I was like, don't back out now. You're going. She's like, well, you have to go then too. I'm like, So I'm like, I look it up. It's Arizona. That's not that far. No, that's the wrong side of Arizona, and it's a long way. So Fort Smith actually saved me, the rodeo, because they were still on at that time when the books for Cave Creek closed, and the slack at Fort Smith was the same weekend. So I was like, I just want to enter Fort Smith slack. I'll just go there. Books for Cave Creek closed. 2 hours later, they canceled the Fort Smith rodeo, and I just thought, I'm not supposed to go to either one. I'm just not. I was not meant to go to Cave Creek, because if so, the Fort Smith rodeo would have been canceled sooner and I would have entered maybe. I don't know, but we did think about it. We considered it. Emily didn't. She was kind of like, I'm good. But me and Ivy had a solid thought for a solid minute and then went, maybe not. So kudos to everybody that went. It's a long way over there. I heard the weather was great and it wasn't as hot as it normally is, but I just was kind of like, which thankfully I had a great winter. I did. So I can rest on that for now. And I'll be really excited to go when there's more. I entered Woodward and some others. So that's exciting. There will be some to go to, and I feel like whatever there is, we'll make it. But I wasn't that desperate to go to a rodeo, I guess, that I wanted to drive all the way over there. But I understand why people did. Just wasn't for me.
Makes sense. Yeah, people were just ready to get out of their houses. Probably,
Totally.
But
I get it.
I bet I can't think of the Cave Creek rodeo getting that much shine in a while.
I know.
It's
They were
this
probably
is the greatest
excited.
rodeo ever, and they're probably like counting the money. Like, thank God.
I hope they were thrilled because they put in the effort to be the first one back. I hope they benefit from it because
Hopefully.
that's tough, and it's been tough on everybody. It's been tough on the economy. It's been tough on everyone's jobs, and it's really been tough on the rodeo athlete for sure. So it was a really big positive that they did it, and I'm grateful and I support them. I just wasn't going to support them with my entry because it just didn't work for me.
Makes sense.
Some things I do make sense, but some things are decided by my right brain.
You haven't really got into too much of that, to be honest, but that's okay. It's probably a good time to wrap because Ty's giving me purple sticky notes telling us what the time is.
He'll do that.
Like you've seen. Yeah,
See
you're
a
getting to
little-
learn a lot about him over there.
Yeah.
But where can everybody find you on social media? I'm sure they already know, but say it anyway.
Let's see. Facebook. I have a Facebook fan page. It's my name, and you can search it there. Instagram is at Hailey Kinsel. Twitter is at Hailey K Kinsel, Kay. That's not my middle name, but I made my Twitter when I was 12, and I wanted it to be my middle name. So there you go. And you can find me on there. I occasionally tweet really funny stuff, and sometimes I don't tweet at all for months. And that's about it. You can also check out my charity page. It's called We Can Help on Facebook, at We Can Help HK, and check that out. We do an annual service project every fall before the finals.
Right on. This has been The Gauge, hosted by me, Chance Conrado, produced and edited by our guy Ty Yeager. Shout out to the executive producers Dustin Pointer and Cody Denton. Marketing and content produced by Casey Burke. Our theme song is by Shay Ashshire and the Night Howlers. Make sure to rate and review this podcast, as well as follow The Gauge on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And make sure to subscribe to The Gauge wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you guys next time.